Good morning. My name is JP D. Oliveira. I'm the Wandering Clinician, and I want to talk to you about locus of control. People who have a tendency to think life is happening to them rather than feel that they have any doings in their own life. So I'm going to talk about two different individuals. One person who tends to think they have control over their life, and the second individual will have the feeling that their life is happening to them and everything is predestined to happen and they have zero control. So let's call the first person Mike. So Mike feel that he's a go-getter, he's ambitious, he has a lot of power, he can do whatever he wants, he sets his mind to. Does Mike ever experience challenges or setbacks? Absolutely. Does he ever experience people saying no to him or not going along with him? Does he ever experience difficult situation? Absolutely. But Mike does not let that defeat him. Mike feels he has the power and he can control his life, that he has the power to affect a change in his life, that he can make decisions. And even though some of his decisions don't turn out to be the way he would like them to be, he can, however, still recover and go on with his life. So Mike has more of an internal locus of control. He does not look outside of himself to explain the consequences of his action. Now let's talk about somebody else named Lawrence. And so Lawrence has a tendency to blame everyone else for what's happening to him. The world is unkind, people around him are not friendly, nothing ever works out the way he wants it to work out. When good things happen, it's by accident. And when bad things happen, it's because it was meant to be. There's no way you can explain to Lawrence that Lawrence can affect a change in his life. He doesn't feel powerful enough. So if he complains or if he nags or if he is unhappy about what's going on in his life, is going to say that the cards that he has in hand were given to him at birth and that's nothing he can do about it. Truth be told, when you're born with a certain set of characteristics in your personality, your DNA and so forth, and your environment does play a role. But if you have an internal locus of control, you can overcome any type of environment and you can grow beyond your limitations or the limitations that are set by your environment. But you have an external locus of control, you will feel limited for the rest of your life and you feel that you can never outgrow or go beyond that. So where does that become difficult is if you're in a relationship with somebody who has an external locus of control and you're trying to have a relationship that works with them and you're like, asking them, for example, to take responsibility for some of their behavior. Well, they will not take responsibility for some of their behavior because they don't think they have the power to change their circumstances. And even though they might be doing something that might be truly irritating or annoying or even downright stupid, you will tell them and they will be like, well, it's not within my control. And they will not say it that way, but it will come down to this. So what do you do when you're dealing with someone like that? Well, the only person you can control in your life is yourself. You control your actions and you control how you react to other people's behavior. And as a matter of fact, if you're dealing with someone, you're more likely going to affect a greater change if you are to change your own behavior to modify your interaction with that person. And sometimes it could be as simple as, just avoiding a person altogether, because sometimes no matter what you do, you're always going to have the same set of consequences. But let's say you're married to someone and you don't have a chance or you don't have the opportunity to walk away for a long period of time. You have to live with them and you are dealing with someone, for example, who does something every day that's annoying to you and you want them to modify their behavior. Truth be told is that you cannot modify their behavior with telling them to modify their behavior. Because if it was as simple as that, everybody could just go up to somebody and tell them, hey, you know what, this is something you're doing and it's bothering me. Can you stop doing it? And the person would stop immediately. Truth be told, when you tell people and you say, hey, this is a behavior that's irritating to me, a lot of time, they may not even realize that they're doing that behavior and they may not even acknowledge that they're doing that behavior. And they may see you as the problem because you're bringing it up to them. So pick your battles. Not every battle is worth fighting. And if something is really, truly important to you, the way you can actually affect a change in your relationship with that person is by changing the way you interact with them and by changing your own actions. So because you can affect a change on your own actions, you can see what you can do differently to bring about a different response. And it sounds a bit manipulative because it is, but that's the way we operate as human beings. We do things. And for example, if you have a friend who's constantly late and never shows up on time, you tell them 2 o'clock, they show up at 2:30. You tell them 3 o'clock, they show up at 3:30. Then tell them 1:30 and then be there at 2. And hopefully that person will be there at the same time as you. And if they're there on time that day and you're late, then maybe they will have some tolerance for the fact that they're always late. And then you can say, oh, I'm so sorry, it escaped me. Another way, if you're living with someone and you ask them to do something repeatedly, after a while, it becomes some kind of a dynamic where people will do something to get a reaction. And when they get that reaction from you, then they go into an argument mode or into a situation where they feel hurt and they can justify their hurt. So let's say you have an external locus of control, and everything that happens to you in your life, everything feels like the world is against you, that other people are against you, that you have zero control, that you have very limited power in your own life. Truth be told is that the limits we experience in our life are often set by ourselves. So if we believe we can only do so much, that's all we're going to be able to do. If we have a growth mindset, which was studied by Carol Dweck at the University of Stanford, she basically gave a bunch of kids math problems. Some of them were really easy, all the way up to downright impossible to figure. And she noticed a change in between the groups. There are some kids that would show up and they would be trying to do the problems and they go all the way up to the end. And then when they could not go further, they'd say, I'm going to talk to my brother about this. I'm going to talk to my neighbor about this. I'm going to talk to my teacher about this. I'm going to get some help. And then the other group of kids were like, this is too hard, I'm giving up. And when you look at society, those two groups still exist. You have people that will be tenacious and they'll work really hard and they'll access resources. And if they can't do it one way, they'll try another way and they'll try and try and try. And then you have the other group who give up. They give up from the get-go because they don't think they have the power to figure things out. Can you change your mindset throughout your lifetime? Absolutely, you can. You can be born and you can develop a mindset where you don't think you have any power, where you don't have any control, and you can come to an understanding at one point. You can grow out of it and you can realize that, yes, you can actually have an effect on your life and on the decisions you make. It is not easy, though. If you're dealing with somebody who thinks that their life is happening to them, it is really hard for them to come to a place where they can feel that they can make a change, and their self-esteem is probably very low and they don't believe in themselves. If you meet someone who feels like they can do anything and that nothing is the limit, sometimes they can come across as arrogant or maybe vain or maybe presumptuous, or maybe they take unnecessary risk. And so it is not good to be either one too much or the other too much. It's good to find a balance. Sometimes it's good to look at a situation and ask yourself, can I do this? And then ask yourself, is there a viable way to make this happen? And other times, sitting down and saying, I'm going to let the universe make a decision for me is not the answer. Some people will do that. They have a decision to make and they don't make decisions because they don't think they have the power over their life. And then the decision that happens is a default situation and then they're unhappy with it. And then they blame the universe even though they didn't take a decision. So my advice, if you have an internal locus of control that's fully developed and you're very independent and you feel great, when you're living with somebody who does not, or if you have a friend who does not have that, to have some empathy and understand that not everybody is like you, but also to not have expectations that are out of this world for people that don't believe that they can affect a change, and maybe model the behavior of, I can affect a change, I have the power within my hand. Maybe if you have something that's really important to you that you want that person to accomplish, maybe discuss that with them, but also understand that they may not feel like they can do it. They may not feel they have the skill to do it. And so the way you inspire someone else to believe in themselves is by being like Gandhi said, the change that you seek to see in the world. Now, if you are somebody who has more of a tendency to think life is predestined and you don't believe in your life like you have any control over it, then maybe, talk to your friends, the ones who are highly capable, the ones who have accomplished so much, and ask them what their secret is. And you'll find out that oftentimes they get as many rejections, if not more. They get told no 1,000 times more, but they keep going. So it's about learning to, navigate life despite being told no. And it's like when you apply for a job, you might apply to 100 jobs and maybe only get one offer. concentrate on the one offer. Don't concentrate on the 99 no's, because life is too short, and your survival depends on it. Your self-preservation depends on it. So make sure that you give yourself the chance to succeed in this life, and don't dwell on the negative. Focus on the positive. And if you're in a relationship, as I said, with somebody who is highly achieving and you feel like you don't have power, the tendency would be to blame them for everything and to say, hey, you know what, you're responsible for everything that's going wrong around me, because they're the closest person to you. However, every time you're in a problem or in a situation that's difficult, it is important for you to realize your part in it and what you're doing to contribute to it. So I wish you all a very good weekend, and I'll look forward to speaking with you very soon. Bye-bye.